So, I've been struggling for a while now to come up with ideas for content. Everything I wanted to do has already been done. From talking about the game's replayability compared to other FromSoft games, talking about the problems with Bleed, and even talking about DLC theories. Everyone has a video on at least one of these topics. So I thought I'd do something fun today and talk about what cereal best represents each main boss and demigod, my most controversial video to date. Let's get into it, and obvious spoiler warning ahead. First off, we got Margaret Morgan, my goatee over here. This one was an easy choice. He's obviously Lucky Charms. You go into battle, he rips your nutsack off, he turns it into a pouch for his Lucky Charms. If you have the audacity to try to reclaim it from him, he'll hunt you to the ends of the earth to take it back, reminding you that the labels have no need for his Lucky Charm pouch. Not only that, but the dude is literally guarding a bottle, or at least a king of all that glitters. That's about as close to a leprechaun as you can get. Speaking of Dragon Age amputation, we're on to Godfrey. This one was harder for me, but I eventually landed on Cornflakes. He's there, he's essential, everyone knows about him, but he'll never be as good as the rest. He wishes he was something cool like Frosted Flakes or even Raisin Bran, but he's not, he's Cornflakes. He tries to act like a powerhouse by chopping up pieces of banana and adding it to the bowl. That's not him. That's not his brand. That's not his flavor. Can't hate him, don't love him, he's Cornflakes. Next, you're likely to run into Ranala, Queen of the Full Moon, but for this, she's Queen of the Fruit Loops. Not only is that the best way to describe her mental state, but just to describe her as a person. As a kid, I loved Fruit Loops. Amazing, tasted delicious, very colorful, very sugary, flavored the milk, everything a young Noah could want. I got them again as an adult, and the taste is dulled, the colors aren't nearly as vibrant, they removed the blue entirely, and everyone knows blue is always the best flavor of anything. She's a shadow of what she once was, a once fearsome queen reduced to a sad echo of what she used to be. That's why I picked Fruit Loops. Now we've got Radon. He's big, he's powerful, everyone loves him, and most of all, he's gonna hit you with 2 scoops. That's right, I'm at Radon's Raisin Bran. One of the best there is. Sometimes underappreciated by kids who skip the lore, but to everyone who takes a bite from themselves, they know he's absolute god tier. Raisin Bran is one of the best cereals in the game, easily in my top 3. And I've gotta say, the same for Radon as a boss. Ronnie isn't a boss, but she is a demigod, so she makes the list. Easy choice again, she's Blueberry. Ronnie is literally just a haunted doll. She's like if Annabelle was trying to go through an emo phase, but was too empathetic and caring to represent the darkness she claims to be all about. She's a fun, welcoming ghost. No one gives a fuck about Casper. We've got Ronnie, we've got Blueberry. Those are all the spirits we need. All the spirits we want. Not to mention she's even blue and has a nice hat. They basically made Blueberry a waifu and slapped it in a fantasy game. Icard, Lord of Blasphemy. This one was tough to find anything for. I've never heard of a snake cereal, and if one did exist, I certainly don't want it to eat me. Wait, other way around. Anyway, after much debate, I settled on Sugar Crisp. Icard is part of the god-devouring serpent. He wants power, he is gluttony, he can't get enough. He's chomping down tarnished and cereal like there's no tomorrow. I have no doubt that Icard will eat Sugar Crisp until his stomach ruptures, because he just can't get enough of that Sugar Crisp. That's all there is to it. Think I'm grasping at straws? That's because I am. If you thought Icard was a terrible argument, here's the shortest explanation on the list. The Draconic Tree Sentinel. Honey bunches of oats. Solely because they think horses like oats. Maybe. I'm not actually sure on that one even. I have no idea what to do here. I am open to better suggestions in the comments. Their lore is kind of bland to me. He's not a unique enemy by any means. There are 2 of him minus the fireballs a short jog away from the boss fight. But it is required to get into the city the normal way, so I put him on the list. Honey bunches of votes for the Draconic Tree Sentinel. Getting back into the interesting stuff, we've got Moog, Lord of Blood. Another simple decision. Moog is Count Chocula. He's got the blood fetish, he likes to kidnap children, which presumably was done with the help of chocolate. He's an optional boss not everyone will run into at the grocery store, but if you do, you're not going to regret it. Moog and Count Chocula go together like Ronnie and Blueberry. Melania, Blade of Mikala. In case you missed that, we're on to Melania, who just so happens to be the Blade of Mikala. A little known fact about Melania is first off her name, and second, the fact that she is actually the Blade of Mikala. For What's Her Face, I chose Special K. You head into the boss room thinking she's going to whip you into shape, but you just leave feeling dissatisfied as your insides rot from consuming all the cereal on this list. Mikala. No one knows his deal and whether or not he has a blade, but everyone loves him. He can draw and lure people to him even if he doesn't play the most exciting role. No one's gonna complain when they see him in the kitchen. That's why we're going with Honey Nut Cheerios. Not enough is known about him to make a better decision, but I'm 100% certain that unalloyed gold is just slang for honey, and that's all I can think of for Mikala the Bladeless. Another lazy one I pulled from nowhere, following the theme of how Elden Ring is actually about honey and exploding bee testicles. We've got the Fire Giant. I used a flawless scientific reasoning to select the absolute perfect cereal for this absolute behemoth. We're going with Honeycomb. Fire Giant's big. Yeah. He's not small. No. Godskin Duel. I can't tell you how happy I am that we're almost done with this list. Why the hell are there so many bosses? Godskin Duel are representations of Rice Krispies due to their tendency to make every bone in your body snap, crackle, and pop. Then the noble's marshmallowy ass rolls you up and roasts you over some black flames to turn you into a Rice Krispie Squares bar before sending you back to the grace. Malacath, also known as the Beast Clergyman. I have to give him corn pops. The sheer amount of sugar and dust and death may rapidly destroy your body from the inside out. There's no debating that he is an amazing boss. From his moveset, to the big reveal, and the weapon you get for defeating him. The design is incredible. The fight always leaves me satisfied. Not unlike corn pops, which are delicious, fun, and always leave me with a smile afterward. Sir, Gideon off here. The all-knowing. Clearly didn't know how the game pacing or area scaling works. I'd easily put him down as life cereal. Much like life, he's hyped up for nothing, incredibly unsatisfying, dry, and is gone in a fraction of a second. Life, like Gideon, is extremely susceptible to madness, and no, I'm not just talking about the cereal. Let's continue. Godfrey, or Horaloo, is by far my favorite boss. I love everything about him, and was extremely disappointed that FromSoft fucked us over with a selection of fist weapons and weak-ass kick-ass of war. But, nonetheless, Godfrey is my favorite. The boss is sweet, delightful, and he'll make your skull crunch against the stone floor. He's the Elden Lord, and he can only be represented by my favorite cereal, Cinnamon Toast Crunch, the most satisfying and rewarding boss in my entire playthrough. Radagon. This hermaphroditic, alchemic analogy of flawed perfection at war with itself could only be represented by mini-wheats, which are so delicious yet so bland at the same time. The fusion of frosting and grains, everything a kid loves and everything a kid hates. Elden Beast, one of my least favorites. Its design is cool and the lore is fun, I guess, but the boss fight is tedious and bland. You spend 5 minutes running across a football field for one hit, then it jumps to the other side. I put Elden Beast down as Weetabix, because he's more of a chore than a boss fight.